there is no one that write me and ask questions. You can see my email address some in some of the episodes, the describing of the episodes. And so when I now not answer but tell you about things that is in my head today, is it maybe that you have already had the answer that you are pleased with, or I repeat, and I repeat it, and maybe you doubt it, and it's okay, you can doubt it, the answer, because I'm not a book reader. I can't read books. That's what the first thing God did to me when he come and talked to me in year 2000. It was that he took away my ability to could read books, and I understand why he took that away, because I should only listen to him today, and not what man was thinking, that those things they find in the caves, the papyrus rules that men have interpret, and it's better to hear what God is talking and tell us today. And in year 2001, one morning, I have just coming to United States and was homeless, and I live with in the devil's home, a very evil woman there. But I sleep there, and one morning God wake me up. It was a bright light in the room, and in that light I heard God talking to me. I know that was God that was talking to me, as he have talking to me in Sweden, in my home, in year 2000. So I knew it was he that was talking, and he said to me that don't make any decision upon what man is telling you, he said to me. That was the first thing he said to me in the United States when I start to. I didn't know in that time, but I know today that I was walking homeless and walk from church to church for hope to get help from the church. And they tried to talk into me things that they believe in those churches I was to, and for to get any money from them, I had to go to their service and sit and listen at them, and they tried to take my brain and take away me from the plan God had for me. But they failed, as I am here now and talking to you. And today was it about a question about this, with to be the apple of in the God, for the the apple in God's, the eyes of God, and to be the apple. What is it to be the apple? That you that love apple, you know how hungry and thirsty you are to bite into the apple and enjoy the apple, and that's same for God, that we should be the apple for God's eyes, to in the eye, to make him be pleased in us. And that's the topic for today that I want to talk about. And I don't think that it should be a spirit coming and talking to us. That I never think about that when I start to record an episode. And if a spirit is coming, is it like a bonus only, extra thing? But I never expected it. God have taught me, learned me to not take anything for granted. So I try to not take anything for granted. It's to be thankful for whatever will come up in your life that is good for you. And but we can't expect it to be that, because God's way is not our way. So it can look like it's evil, that is negative, and then in the long run we find out that bad thing we thought was bad was good for us. So we don't know. We don't know, because God's way, he sees everything. He knows where we're coming from and where all the people around us is coming from and where we are going. He knows that. And he knows today what's happening in our life. And many things that is hard for us with suffering and these things is a learning thing to be not only stronger but be awake, to understand what's going on in our life. It's like he's shaking us up. I know suffering is very bad. It's very bad. I have suffering very much, so I know what it is. And it's not to take it lightly, but it can be that God wants to teach us something with it, to make us realize where we are and be thankful when the suffering is over, if it ever be over. But if we have a relationship with God, either he can make it so the suffering is over, or else I have found out lately now that he can also, if it's not supposed to be over, he can smooth it so it doesn't, so we don't suffering so much as other people that have no God suffering. They suffering much more because we have God with us that can make the suffering be more that we can handle it. In that way, you understand what I'm talking about, and that is comes with I have a spirit here. We will see, because I want to talk first. It's come with the faith. The suffering and faith go hand in hand. So it's if you have that faith, that you believe that God, I pray to you that take care of my suffering, and I believe that you will take care of what's going on in my life. And if you have that relationship with God, that also make you receive some kind, maybe not in our way how we see it, but in God's way to see it, how to take away much of the suffering, or take away everything from the suffering. It's hard because we don't know. You heard the breathing that come here, because it was this spirit that I have that go into my body, but I am still not in the spirit. So I try to talk about what I was thinking I should talk about. It's about how to please God. It's first what I say, that we walk in faith, that we have a relationship with God on a daily basis, not once in a while. And the good thing is if you can make a time of the day where you sit on your own and only talk to God, and no one else and no one around that disturb you, that you can have your time with God. And the Muslims, they are praying to God 5 times a day. But I am not sure that we need to sit down and pray to God 5 times a day, but at least 3 times a day. In the morning, in the lunchtime, and in the evening before going to bed, or in our bed before we go to sleep. I think that will be enough for God. He don't ask for so much from us. There is some things that he wants us to do, and it is to take time for him. You don't need to sit and talk so people can hear it. You can take your time inside your mind and talk to God in your brain. Talk it to him in your mind, because he hears what you're thinking. So you can pray to God even if there is people around you, but you need to have quiet around you. No anything stressful around you, because you need to stay focused on what you are doing when it's come to God. And have faith. This is the most important to please God. Then is it to live your life in righteousness. And it is not so hard to do those things. It's you have to stay away from the world, and what pleases the world is not pleasing God. And you have to be selective in what you are doing, and you can't be foolish and run with the world. And some people that is like wanna be a Christian or wanna be religious, they still are drinking, and they say that Jesus made wine of water, but that is symbolic. It's not about wine you drink for to be drunk. It's he make it more value of the water, that Jesus is symbolic for his words, what he's talking about, or the flowing of Jesus talking in a spirit way. And the wine is to be more thicker, get the meat on the bones to be more glowing into your spirit, to make you nurturing the spirit. That's what it is symbolic. The wedding is an agreement between people. It can be between two people, but it can be in many people. The wedding is not the wedding like the world see it. The wedding is to make an agreement to something, and that was what Jesus was about with the wine. That was a thicker thing in the agreement of what they should do. It's okay with the water in the agreement, but it's more and better with the wine into it. And Jesus was talking about the wine stock, and I have learned how to grow the best grapes to do the wine too, is with a soil that is not a soil that you put a seed for flowers into. This is something with so much sand in it. It doesn't have so much nurturing in it. It's poor soil. It's a hard soil to grow in. that's what the best grapes will grow in. And that's what the Bible is talking about. I know it. I know I am not reading the Bible, but I have heard when they are preaching about it, and I remember what they are saying, and then when I sit there and listen at the preachers, I have my own mind. I'm thinking it's not literary, it's symbolic that you're talking about. And sometimes it's not nice to listen when they explain it literally, when it's symbolic. And but they take it because they want to have both the world, and they want to look like they are righteous, a follower of Jesus as their God, as their idol. And they don't understand at all what Jesus was talking about. Jesus didn't come to destroy the law, the Jewish and Moses and these laws. He was coming to fulfill everything. And as I have told you about this with time, in the spirit there is no time limit. And when Jesus was walking here on earth, sometimes he was in the world as the Son of Man. That's when he talking about Son of Man. It was when he was not in his spirit. And when he was in the spirit, he was talking about the Son of God. That was the difference between them. So he say that. And the fulfillment he was talking about had not a limit. It have not happened. What should come in the future? It was not in Jesus' time, and it have not been yet in our time, because the Spirit have no time limit, so it can happen any day. You can't say that it will happen 2028 like that. It's much other things that have to come together for it to happen, and that's why they couldn't tell when the time comes when Messiah is coming. It's depend on, and we understand it now, that it's depend on the earth, what we are doing here. We have a relationship with heaven, and they want us to have a relationship with them, but very few people have relationship with heaven, and that's what we try to do. That's what I try to tell you in my podcast, that we need to find the way into God's plan for us, and the plan for the earth, to find it and hold it. And we have to live today. We have to live like there is no tomorrow, like we do those important things that we need to do today, and that is to build on our relationship with God. That's the only thing we need to do today. And if we are into God's will, to please God, we are peacemaker. We are peacemaker. We don't need to love all people, because we don't need to love the world. And many people are in the world. So we can only accept them as they are creation of God. They are, God make them. So we have to accept them, even if they have so many wrong things. We should not hate. And by doing this, it's hard for the enemy. It's hard for the enemy to make war against us. It's so hard to be angry and hate and do bad things to a person that it doesn't matter for this person, whatever you do and say. Of course not killing us. They can't do that because we have the protection. But they can hurt us, and we have to shake it off. It's only to shake it off, shake the devil off, shake the devil off. And believe that and have faith in that God take care of it. At least that God help us to be rid of that person, those people, those things that bother us so much that we can't do so much about. That God help us to shake it off. That's the only tool we have, is to have the faith and the relationship with God, to ask God if He could take that away for us, because we're suffering, we don't feel good, that is so bad for our life and bad for our relationship with God, because it's important for God and for us to have a relationship. So you can try to pray in that way, that this bother me in my relationship with you, God. I can do bad things that will not please you if it's going on as it does. Like that, you can try to pray to God about it in that way, that it's break away some of the relationship you have with God and His kingdom, if it's going on. And it is to please God and not man. It's we learn from when we are a child to please. You have heard it. I have heard it sometimes. My mother say that to me, that when I was a child, that that I did. She didn't hit me. She didn't spank me, but she could say very hurting words to me, and sometimes she say that you make me start to cry, or you don't please me with the way you are doing and these things. And we learn as children that we have to please the world, and it's not our people around us, it's not their fault. They have learned from their parents to say these things that make us glue more to the world, to be more. I need to show success for the world to see that I am a successful person by have much money, have a nice car, and have many friends around me, and these things to please the world. When God knows what's going on, those friends you have, you know it by yourself that many of them, they should not stand up for you if something should happen in your life. If you don't have those money that you have, that you don't have that car that you have, that you don't have those friends, if you don't have the titles and many things like that, you know that that of 30 people that you have around you, that is two that stand out for you. But you want to think that the numbers is matter for the world, to show that. And I understand it today that that's what the devil is telling, that have told me many times in my life, that the devil say, you are the only one that think like you do. It's only you that is different from the other people. It's like he wants us to stand alone, and he knows that what the world doesn't like to see, that you are by yourself. So, and you know that's why you try to find many people to have around you and show up worldly success. And important to be a preacher in the church, even if you have no real connection with God. You only know the Bible because that you have learned from the childhood, and you know how to talk, but you don't know God. But you want to be seen of many people, and you have the platform to showing up and sing songs for them that you know that they make you like be an idol for them, and in the church, and these things that the world is pleased of. And but we should know that we can't do anything. We can't do anything that is make us to have an everlasting life by love the world. We can't do that, and we know that we are not God. So we are dependent on God and His kingdom for our life. That we are really dumb because we don't know anything that is in the future. We can assume that it will be like that, but then you can go out on the street and be drive over and be killed and nothing happen in the future, or at least break a leg and lay in a hospital, and you can't do what you are thinking you should do in the future. We are dependent on God, that He help us to make the way in His plan for our life and for the world that we are in, and to make more brothers and sisters for God, and at least take care of our life to please God. And I look because it's something, it's winter, but there